Welcome everyone to the Borough of Swissvale regular council meeting. This is March 5th, 2025 meeting. I'd like to call this meeting to order at 7:01 p.m. Let's go through our roll call. Ms. Alfonso Wells.
Present.
Mr. Hayes.
Present.
Mr. Miser.
Here.
Mr. Quinn.
Present.
Ms. Stribling.
Present.
Ms. Swartzwelder.
Here.
Mayor Swartzwelder.
Here.
Wonderful. We didn't have any signups for public comments, so we're just going to keep moving through to our council actions. Council actions under 4A1, if someone would like to make that motion.
I move to approve the minutes of the January 29th, 2025 council agenda meeting and the February 5th, 2025 council meeting.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of approving the motion as read, please say aye.
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 Opposed? All right, let's go down to 4B.
I move to approve the Borough of Swissvale paid bills in the amount of $458,503.99.
Second.
Any discussion? All right,
Oh, gotta pay bills. Gotta pay bills.
all in favor of approving the motion as read, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Let's go down to 4C.
I move to appoint Brittany Swartzwelder to the Enterprise Zone Corporation for Braddock Board of Directors.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, let's vote. All in favor of approving the motion as read, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Move down to 4D.
I move to approve a council discretionary fund expenditure of $7,370 for the purchase and installation of these Swissvale welcome signs.
Second.
Any discussion? Looking forward to these. I think they'll look great.
I think they're, the one thing I was gonna ask is, once we replace the other signs, can we see if we have enough to have picked one of the signs that are left for the rest of the entrances? We have a hodgepodge of different welcome signs for the areas that don't have.
Can you say that in a different way? I didn't follow you.
Okay, we have a variety of different signs that say welcome to Swissvale Work. Can we see what we have the most of and use that one for the rest of the entrances?
I see what you're saying.
That's just not to amend this, but to just to kind of create some uniformity.
Yeah.
Yeah. In addition to what these words was.
Sounds good. I agree. Any other discussion? All in favor of approving the motion as read, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Let's move to 4E.
I move to approve the posting of resolution 25-03 in all borough-owned buildings.
Second.
Motion's on the table. As we talked about last week, I'd like to make a motion to amend that motion to add to it for the remainder of the term of the current council with the provision that it can be renewed at the first legislative meeting following the biennial reorganization meeting.
Second.
So that is now the amended motion, or we have to vote on that, on the amendment. Any discussion on the amendment?
I'll just reiterate my concern of placing a timeline or an end to these values that we all hold dear. I don't believe that it holds future councils accountable, or, I believe it does hold future councils accountable and all of us accountable. And I don't believe that it has a expiration date. But in the effort of solidarity, I'll vote yes.
So all in favor of approving the amended the amendment to the motion, please say aye.
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 Any opposed to the amendment to the motion?
Who seconded the amendment?
Okay, that motion carries. So now we have the amended motion. Is there any further conversation to that amendment? All right, let's vote on that motion. All in favor of approving the amended motion, please say aye.
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 Did you just do that
We
twice?
approve-
We would approve it to make it.
Yeah, we
Official
approved the
one.
amendment.
The second one.
Right, did I do that right?
Yes.
Okay,
So
yeah, we approved the amendment, and
Okay.
now we're voting on the motion itself.
Aye.
So,
As
as amended. Let me ask that again, just to make sure. All in favor of approving the motion with the amendment, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? And we have one abstaining. All right, motion carries. Let's move down to 4F.
I move to approve resolution 25-05, authorizing the submission of a grant application to the Department of Community and Natural Resources Community Conservation and Partnerships Program to fund improvements at Les Getz Memorial Park.
Second.
Motion's on the table. Any discussion?
Just to clarify, the area after meeting with the recreation committee last week, the area that we're applying for funds for is the upper park. When you turn into Memorial Park for new sidewalks, new play structures, rubberized surface underneath the play structures, new pavilion and a parking area.
Yeah, in our conversation, I think that some of the focus was to go from what is most visible from the street, kind of start there, improve that, and then make our way down. So that's what the grant application will be for. Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor of approving the motion as read, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Let's move down to 4G1.
I approved, or I'm sorry. I move to approve the purchase of a 2025 Elgin Brown Bear electric street sweeper from A&H Equipment in the amount of $775,000.
Second.
Motion's on the table. Any discussion?
Yes, I personally want to thank County Executive Sarah Morado for this program and the Chief Operating Officer of the Health Department, Kim Joyce, for their work on improving our communities. And this is a great opportunity for Swissvale to do what we need to do in keeping our streets clean, but at the same time doing it in a sustainable way. So I thank the county executive and the health department for their efforts in not just in Swissvale, but all over Allegheny County.
Agreed. Further discussion? All in favor of approving the motion as read, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Go down to 4G2.
I move to approve ordinance number 25-03, enacting a delinquent garbage fee amnesty ordinance beginning on May 1st, 2025, and ending on July 31st, 2025.
Second.
Okay, motion's on the table. I want to turn it over to Mr. Bakshi.
Yeah, can I ask the council consider tabling this motion for this month? I've been talking to Jason Lawson at Keystone Collection, and he said, you know, one of the things they do like these programs because it gets money into the community, it gets into their hands quickly. People do take advantage of these when we waive the penalties and interest. He said one of the problems though is the way it's drafted right now, and he said after talking to more of his staff, is the fact that there is the payment plan option. He said the payment plan options typically don't work. He said, and that people make payments thinking they're going to get the penalties and interest waived, and at the end of the term, the penalties and interest put back on because they don't follow through. His suggestion was that we make this a longer term. He said let people create their own payment plans. He said, because if we're going to give them 6 months to pay it under a payment plan, he said, let them save up the money and pay it. And he said, you know, one of the ways may be to just extend the time period out 6 months. You know, make this maybe May 1st to November 1st. But if we table this tonight, he said if we adopt it at the April meeting, they will still be ready to go on May 1st. So that the program will not start any later. It'll give us some time. I can redraft it with a couple of his suggestions, distribute to council, re-advertise it, and then we can adopt it next month. But he said we'll still be ready to go May 1st because they're going to do all the mailings to the delinquent garbage people, delinquent refuse fees. They will do all the mailings and they'll have it ready for us for May 1st. But if that's what you wanted to do, you know, to extend it out, because the period would only be, it would be extended. You could do 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, whatever you want to do. But if you want to give the option of payments, let them, he said, just let them make the payments themselves. He said, because the great majority of people on the payment plan default on it. And then they go back to they paid off some principal, but they have all that finance charges still.
Can we make sure that if it's a possibility for them to make partial payments during that 6 month period, that we spell that out? clearly, concisely, unambiguously.
Well, his recommendation was no partial payments, just because,
Is that, I mean, is that a difficulty? I mean, not that we're gonna do a payment plan, but if somebody says, okay, you know what, I can afford $50 over the next
Mhm.
6 months. And they want to get it out of their checking account, they want to pay it. I mean, will they accept that partial payment?
oh, they'll always accept money. They'll always accept it. But it's not, it's, at the end of the 6 months, all the penalties go back on.
Right, I think the letter needs to clarify that, but I would encourage, I mean, if people want to make partial.
Oh, yeah,
payments,
they
I
can
think we
always
should
make-
encourage them to do so.
I think to Mr. Haynes' point, and correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm not understanding you, but can we add some language to the ordinance that says, not that there's no prepayment penalty, but some kind of language that would say,
The entire amount, I'm sorry.
no, what you said, you probably have better,
I was just thinking the entire amount of the principal must be paid within the amnesty period or for all charges.
Yeah, I was thinking more along the lines of something like, it can, fractions of, yeah, and all that language, I don't know that I like it, because I'm trying to verbal process here, but so, it sounds like you're looking for some kind of language that cues people in to say, hey, you know what, if I only can pay $100 every month, that I'm invited to do that, as opposed to, I have to save up $600 and pay that at one time.
Is there a certain date that's gonna be listed on there saying?
It'll be May 1st to, what I'm hearing, May 1st to November 1st. But see, the thing is, what I'm thinking is they can do that now without the amnesty.
But spelling it out, I mean, I think it's important for us to. spell-
Even just
make it
a
easy.
sentence, like a sentence like payments can be made at any time. And any partial or full payments can be made at any time during this amnesty period.
And the full amount has to be paid by.
But yeah,
November
yeah.
1st.
Full amount is due. Yeah,
Right.
partial payments will not be accepted after this time. So,
Yeah, I can make those additions and changes, and I'll circulate to everyone. And then we can get it, if everyone's good with the new draft, then we can get it re-advertised.
So should I reread this to table it?
Actually, we need a motion to table it, and now,
I move to table this until next month.
second.
All right, so, we've talked about it, all in favor of tabling this motion, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion is tabled till next month. So Mr. Bashy will make those changes, circulate it, re-advertise it, and then we can discuss it again at our agenda meeting at the end of the month and then vote on it in April.
Thank you.
Great. Let's move down to 4H.
I move to approve ordinance 25-04, codifying the ability of the Smithville Police Department to effect warrantless arrests.
Second,
Any discussion?
it's not warrantless. It's on site, but it's what it's called, warrant. It does not change any authority that the police currently have at all. They currently have this right, this power under federal, or under state law, Commonwealth law. But for our accreditation, we have to pass an ordinance in borough. We discussed this a lot last meeting. I just wanted to reiterate, this is not some sort of superpower that is in addition to what the police currently have and use effectively and efficiently.
Any other discussion? All in favor of approving the motion as read, please say aye. Aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? Count that on the ayes. Motion carries. All right, well, we can jump down to the reports. Section 5, file report, Ms. Stribling.
Well, we had our annual dinner last Friday at the Country Club. Turtle Creek Valley Hall. Myself, Shauna Felson Wells was there, and Mr. Batchy and his wife. It was a great time. Sylvia Martinelli, she was, she's no longer, she retired, so she received the award. So that was my report. We had a nice time.
Great. Wonderful, thank you. Any questions for Ms. Stribling? Let's move on to the Connect report. Ms. Alfonso Wells. No reports. All right, we'll keep moving. President's report. So what I have is, so something else, it reminded me as we were talking about voting next meeting, at the next April meeting. Right after that, I think most of us, is all of council going this year? To Alon? Yeah, okay. The majority of us are though, right? Majority are going to Alon. Allegheny League of Municipalities has an annual conference at Seven Springs. It's an opportunity for us to get out and network with some other municipal leaders, an opportunity to sit down in some breakout sessions, learn about fire, security, you name it. There's different elements of municipal government. So we will be attending that. Most of us will be attending that next month. Great opportunity to, like I said, network and connect with others. Other than that, the primary announcement, I've shared this a few times, is the Swissvale, the My Swissvale app is now live. It's sponsored through GoGov. And there are signs that you will find, it's on the newsletter, the front of that newsletter, which if you're here and you want a newsletter, there's a bunch on that table there. You can find newsletters at the library if you don't get the electronic version. They can also be accessed on our website. There are also, you might have seen signs, yard signs around the borough that have a little QR code that you can scan to access that. There are also postcards that are going to be mailed out to all residents. Those should be mailed out Friday. Probably means they'll get there. They might even come by Saturday, but if not Saturday, early next week, so that folks can get on that. It's a great app. It's going to have opportunity to sign up for text alerts for things like I got a text alert today about the fish fry starting up. You can access a number of information from that connects to our website. Probably the feature that we're most excited about is a what is it? Is it this request form? And so if you see something, you see a pothole in that street, you snap a picture of it and you upload it to the app and send it to Public Works, and it opens a ticket for them to address and then close the ticket, and you can be notified along that process. So it's something Ms. Ann's been working really hard on alongside of GoGov, and we're really excited about it.
And also for my Apple users, you can access this app on your MacBook as well. So
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah,
On
you
the Mac
texted me
App
about
Store.
that.
So.
Yeah. So there you go. If the phone wasn't enough and you had to put that, great. More ways to be connected. So that's all I have for report. We'll move on to 5D, Mayor's Report. Mayor Swartzwelder.
Just a few announcements. I want to remind everyone that the Mayor's Charitable Fund, we are having a fundraiser at the Grandview Golf Course. It is a night of the races this Friday, April 7th at 7 p.m. Admission is free, and just come and
March 7th or April?
April 7th.
Next.
I mean, March 7th.
At 7 p.m.
I've already pushed it. It's Friday. March
Not
7th.
any longer.
I'm already, this Friday, March 7th, at the Grandview Golf Course, free admission, and there will be a pizza buffet and horses to bet on. And just come and have a fun time and get out and see your friends.
So that's after we eat the fish fry?
Yes, yeah. April 19th, a reminder, is our 31st annual East Egg Hunt at Memorial Park at noon. All are welcome. Look to the website for more information. Chief Wilhelm, I'm asking you now to reserve the fire truck for the Easter Bunny to come down. That's April 19th.
Would you kindly send
I
me a
will.
text?
I certainly will.
Thank you.
Also, SEDCO wants to remind residents that we are still accepting curb appeal applications up to $250 for residential, $500 for business, grants for improvements of your outside. And check that out on our SEDCO webpage, which there is a link from the Swissvale website. And I don't know if everybody knows, but our canine Atlas passed away this week, and I asked just for a moment of silence, and then Chief, if you want to say a few words after that. Thank you, everybody.
Atlas has been with us a little over 6 years, about 8.5 years old. Officer or Sergeant Zakia had kenneled him while he was away. Apparently he ate and then his stomach flipped over, which happens sometimes with large breed dogs, and killed him. It was the reason he died. So there's nothing, the veterinary checked him out, there's no issue otherwise. It was just a medical condition that sometimes happens. So Mr. Batchy and I are ready to go on some plans in the future. We will bring the council before we put action about it.
So keep Sergeant Zakia and his family in your prayers, and because Atlas was part of their family, you know, and he was part of the Swissvale Police Department, and
the community family also, so.
Yes, I mean, one thing with these dogs, the handlers do take them home, they do live with the handlers. And that creates, a more socialized dog that, you know, we're able to use for the community engagement. We use it for the dogs, the, law enforcement do these things. So, thank you.
Or thoughts are it?
And that's my report.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. We move on to the Borough Manager's report, Mr. Batchy.
Thanks, sir. Washington Street Bridge, if you've seen, there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of people around there. There's some issues with the detour signage. We're gonna get worked out on Friday with the engineer and the contractor. And, we're also gonna be posting at the end of Duquesne Avenue on both ends, no parking, a couple parking spaces. So the tractor trailers that serve, E.H. Griffith and the other businesses down there can navigate onto Palmer Street, which they can't now because of the, which they won't be able to do in a couple of days. So we're gonna get that worked out Friday. I have a meeting with the contractors, construction manager, and everybody else there. And then the other thing is council members and the mayor, I do need your signatures on this resolution before you leave, so please don't run. Thanks, that's all I have.
Thanks, Mr. Batchy. Let's move down to the engineer's report, Mr. Ziskow.
Thanks, Mr. President. I've submitted my written report. I would ask council to sort of disregard item number 11. I've indicated some financing grants that we received and trying to read the 35 pages of grants. I believe that you've actually gotten the grants, but they didn't come under this most recent round. I think they were 24 grants. I'll check with Greg to make sure what we have and where we have. We did get one grant, but it was not that. So that's all I have.
Mr. Ziskow and I are actually gonna meet next week, go over what we have in the pipeline to start to move some of these forward. And figure out which ones to do in the near future and which ones, how to stagger these. Because he's got to design them and do all the bid specs, so we kind of have to stagger them through the next couple of months, so give him time to do them, so. We do have a lot of grants, in the pipeline that, we received, and we're gonna get those moving next week on a couple of projects.
Sounds great. All right, Water Authority report, Ms. Tracy Crockett Collins.
This is an overview of the board meeting held 2/25. There was a presentation by Ashley Shawarski of HomeServe USA on the NLC Service Line Warranty Program. It's the same program that Duquesne Light offers. It would just be under the Water Authority's umbrella. It was just a presentation, so we don't know where we're gonna move on that or not. Letters were sent to elected officials to appoint members to the Customer Advisory Council. Penvest Grant Phase 2 line replacements have slowed due to the weather. There are 894 completed out of the 1,005 scheduled. Penvest Grant Phase 3, March 20th is the anticipated closing date, and the needed resolutions, authorizations, and approvals were passed. 606 customer letters were sent, 444 have been returned. There were 78 mainline breaks system-wide since the last board meeting. None were in Swissvale. There were 313 distribution services or repairs. 3 were in Swissvale. Other business was conducted, including approval of or status of infrastructure projects. The agenda engineer's report and report of management are available online, and the approved or previous meeting minutes will be added. More information can be found at the authority's website, wpjwa.com. And if you have or see any water issues, please contact the WPJWA customer service at 412-243-6200. That's my report. Any questions?
It'll never get old.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's move on to the solicitor's report, Mr. McTiernan.
I just wanted to mention to council and the mayor, some of the successes the code enforcement department's had this month. And we work with Chief Wilhelm's staff a long time. As you know, our district justice, Judge Caulfield, is very supportive of code enforcement efforts. But sometimes when you get downtown, judges who see so many code enforcement officers from so many municipalities, they tend to be a little overly lenient or maybe not as understanding of these conditions as our local district justice is. And this month, I think Josh Belkey and Assistant
Chief Volpe.
Yeah, Volpe as well, sustained all their fines, including a $1,000 fine for a chronic offender here in the borough. So the preparation, the effort, the sort of credibility the staff builds up, and with my law partner, Gavin Robb downtown with the judges, really makes a difference. Because, it's good to have a good enforcement locally, but once you get down to the court, sometimes it doesn't stick. But they've done a really great job, and I just wanted to mention those court orders came through, and I was very pleased to see them. So, and that's all I have.
Thank you. Would it be possible when those types of things are either sustained or removed, that we get like a
Sure.
an update? Just because I know these are oftentimes things that we've heard about at like the magisterial level, but then we don't know kind of what happens after.
I think that's a great idea, especially since I don't want to mention defendants' names
Sure,
or no
not-
meeting.
Yeah,
But it would be, you might notice some of the
yes,
people that issue the address. So
yes.
We'll do that.
For those and just by email.
Great.
Perfect. Thank you. Anything else?
Nothing else.
Okay. Before we adjourn, are there any announcements? Yes, Mr. Blake.
Judge, bring up a topic, please.
Is it for deliberation or is it an announcement?
It's an announcement. Well, it's actually a conversation I think needs to be had.
I don't know if this is an appropriate place for us to have a conversation, because we're like, this is supposed to be our legislative meeting. We're supposed to not bring up new business under, and this sounds like it would fall more under the category of business.
Okay, so everybody who's in attendance needs to come back at the end of the month.
Yeah, which would be online, so they can sign up to register for public comment and whatnot online if that's the desire. But yes, that would be, or they can come, if folks here had something they wanted to say, they could come early enough to sign up for public comment before the meeting and make that comment as part of the public comment.
Okay.
But the
You heard
public
that?
comment closes at the beginning of the meeting. Okay,
No problem.
all right, thank you. Any other announcements? I welcome an opportunity, a motion to adjourn at 7:29 PM.
So moved.
Is there a second on it?
Second.
Favor of approving that motion to adjourn, please say aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion adjourned.
Yeah.